We know that Wicked is a subversive, awful retelling of The Wizard of Oz that's meant to actually just propagandize. And it's effective because it has captured a lot of women and, of course, the children that the women bring to the movie theaters through the course of these two movies. And a lot of them are bringing their children. I was actually talking to my 12-year-old son, who has no interest in seeing this, thankfully. And he says that a lot of his classmates, even the boys, were forced to go to the movies with their mothers because the mothers wanted to go see this movie. And there's a reason this has been, of course, propagandized towards women, made it emotional, etc. It's the glittery, pretty costumes that get the women interested in this. And that's an easy way to, of course, propagandize and push this. But we know that there's controversy surrounding the film as well. Not only is this a woke nightmare adaptation of The Wizard of Oz, that's one thing, but second, they are adding these weird sexual premises to it that are making it something very, very creepy to try to bring your kids to. And there's been a costume design that they literally call something in this regard, which I'm going to get into in just a moment, that they are actually defending now and using this as the term for it, showing that this PG movie is really meant to be anything other than PG. So let's get into this news in just a moment. Please hit the like and subscribe button here as we talk about everything in the culture. This is your real fantasy news, not the ones that'll shill for Hollywood like a lot of others out there. And I appreciate everybody for being here. I am a science fiction and fantasy writer myself, and there's a big thing you can do, of course, to get in and make a new movement here to change things in the culture. I actually have a newsletter, and I give you 3 free books just for reading. I've got a sci-fi book, a fantasy book, and a action superhero book as well. And the action superhero book, I think it would be great for movies. It's actually a superhero romance that has a lot of fun to it, and it's all pretty wholesome, clean stuff. Now, in this, my fantasy world, it also includes my night training, which is a beautiful fantasy world I've developed. If you want a wonderful Wizard of Oz that's pretty neat and for the modern day, this is a good spot for you. So please, this is in the description below. Sign up, get your 3 books today, and I appreciate everybody for watching. All right. So, it starts here. We're looking at this. Glinda's ending in Wicked for Good is more tragic than it looks. Love the sinner, hate the sin, is what they say, which is interesting because this is coming from Polygon. It's a Access Media news outlet, and they celebrate sin. They're not somebody who's actually trying to present a Christian or wholesome message or anything like that. Neither is this iteration of The Wizard of Oz. In this one, Glinda and Elphaba, who is the Wicked Witch of the West, are not actually opposed to each other. There's not the good woman versus the evil, which is, of course, guiding Dorothy in her deal along, which is meant to be a fairy tale on that, right? You got the angel and devil on your shoulder. That's where obviously that came from, and of course the devil's not something to be shunned and destroyed like Dorothy did, even though she accidentally did it. She ended up doing so and becoming the hero, right? I guess she did that with the Wicked Witch of the East. But hey, they changed things quite a bit in this deal to make Elphaba a misunderstood person who's really just trying to help the minorities out and give them a voice, right? And that's what this is all about, is her leading a revolution. And it's subversive. It's telling a woman to lead this revolution to the left-wing communist agenda. That's really what it's about. And then of course saving these people from whatever. And so in the musical version, it gave the animals their voices back, right? They were the talking animals of Oz. And they were oppressed by the people, right? And it's like, oh gosh. And that's really what she was fighting for. And that was her only crime. She was just standing up against the system and that patriarch man, the Wizard of Oz, right? It's like, oh gosh. Now, in the Wizard of Oz was not actually the real villain in the actual Wizard of Oz movie or book. He was a grifter who was causing problems. The witch was the villain, right? And he was somebody who just was in over his head, and he ended up apologizing and helping out at the end, right? Because he figured out things. He was a redemption arc in a lot of ways, right? And so they changed this, and it's an intentional change here. And looking at this and trying to get these 2 women here and look at them from an emotional, sad, it's more tragic than it looks angle in the media and all that is an attempt to actually just again, humanize all of the evil that is being done here, that's being ignored by Glinda throughout the course of the movie. So through this, there's an affair that happens. We covered this yesterday, that there's a very obvious implied sex going on between Elphaba and then Fiyero, who's the scarecrow later on, who both survive. And of course, Glinda thinks they die, right? and is left just thinking they're dead at the end of this, which is the quote tragedy going on with this, and it all has to do with the romance relationships, right? And so that's where the media posits this, and this is how they just go and advocate for the propaganda that's the core of the film at this level. But it gets weirder, right? Again, we talked about the parents boycotting this in the sex scene yesterday and all that's going on. But here's something that comes on. Wicked costume designer defends Elphaba's sex cardigan from the intimate scene with Fiyero. Now, this is People magazine. Again, look at the way that they pose this in the media. Oh, yeah, this is an intimate scene. Like this is a kid's movie. Like, there shouldn't be intimate scenes, right? She wears a chunky gray cardigan during the intimate As Long As Your Mind song in Wicked for Good. And so here it is, Paul Tazewell pulling back the curtain on what inspired her sex cardigan. Now they call this, again, this is being used by the media, who it's implying, because since it's in quotes, that the costume designer is using this as, quote, sex cardigan itself, which tells you what they intended with this scene. They intended to get little kids watching a sex scene. And that's a creepy thing within Hollywood. Hollywood's disgusting. It really, really is, all the way around. And it's just a whole ecosystem of just toxic, terrible, degenerate behavior, and that's exactly what they're trying to push in all of these films. It's really shocking. A lot of the people have given up on the culture war this year. You see a lot of channels changing. There's a lot of video game people who were fighting the culture war last year who just kind of aren't this year. There's a lot of movie and TV reviewers who are saying woke is dead, and they're trying to change to become just they're pivoting to become generic movie reviewers and the like. And they're not paying attention to this stuff, because here's the thing: it's very difficult to get the message across when something's well produced. When you have shiny, glittery things, you can't really get somebody to back away from something like Wicked. It's really, really difficult. And same thing, I tried to talk to my sister about this, and she wanted to go see it anyway. And it's oh gosh, you just wouldn't listen about the woke propaganda in it, because you know what? It's well produced. Wicked's a fun thing. Everybody's talking about it. There's a social challenge element to it. But here it is. It's a sex cardigan. What the hell's a sex cardigan anyway? These people in Hollywood. So as soon as the long-awaited sequel hit, the fans couldn't help but obsess over this woolly cardigan she wears during the film Sensual, As Long As Your Mind sequence. Again, you shouldn't have sensual in a kid's movie. While the fans had mixed opinions about the ragged gray knit that she puts on before her love scene, the film's Oscar-winning costume designer shed light on why he chose this. He says it came out of a literally organic decision of what does Elphaba have access to. He said in the recent interview, and living alone, what choice should she make when she's looking for a robe, some way to be protective and warm? It's operating as her robe in that moment. She's got a loom in her treehouse. She's weaving her own clothing. She's manifesting all these things from the elements that are around her, and the sweater is just keeping with that. Going on to explain that a black slinky peignoir would have been an unrealistic choice for her in the circumstances, but that's what they were thinking, right? As a little slinky deal. Tazewell said that the cardigan was just another choice to help define who a character is and what's important to them and what their priorities are. After all, each intricate wardrobe that she and her co-star wear through the film is a symbol of their character-specific moment. And this is, again, how they're getting everybody. The costume changes, the glittery looks and all that is why the women get propaganda to this. And here it is, a sex cardigan or Fiyero's perfectly tousled toupee. He says, I see my works as a costume designer, as one of a storyteller. I'm trying to tell a silent story, and it's pushing for all this, even within the costuming choices of what they're doing here, guys. So this is it. And this is the level that Hollywood actually does insert these messaging into films, right? And this is what they do. Obviously, she's got some very little underneath. It's implying that they're going into that sex scene there. And that was the whole intention of this going through, is to push this and to push this kind of thing on children, which is a really, really frightening thing for the culture. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. I don't know how to fight it. Is there really a way you can even put a stop to this? I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because we do want to fight the culture war here. We do want to actually make changes within the culture. And it seems to be going rapidly in the same direction it's gone for over a decade, which is in a terrible way, especially for the kids getting pushed into these lifestyles. All right, leave a comment down below. Thanks for being here, guys. Make sure to sign up for my newsletter, and I appreciate you for being here. We'll be back soon.